Back here on the Saturday morning Sports Medicine Weekly, Steve Kashul, Dr. Brian Cole. Time now for the staple of our show. It's our Ask the Doctor segment, giving our listeners the opportunity to have Dr. Cole address their specific sports injury issues. If you want to get involved, very easy. Go to our website, sportsmedicineweekly.com, and on the homepage, you'll see the picture of Dr. Cole and yours truly on the right side of the screen. Click on that link, and you can ask the doc a question. Ready, Doc? Here we go.
I'm in.
First one. What is the difference, Dr. Cole, between open and closed chain exercise? What is each type of exercise indicated?
Well, I imagine some of our listeners know what this is, but I think it's kind of important to know because it may have special meaning if you're, say, recovering from injury or have joint pain. But basically, there's two forms of what we call kinetic exercise, meaning when your joints are moving. One is called open chain exercises, and the other is called closed chain exercises. So open chain is when, say, the segment furthest away from the body, either the hand or the foot, is free and it's not fixed or in contact with an object. And in a closed chain exercise, it's fixed or stationary. So the open chain exercise, like picture, Steve, if you sit down on a machine and like a leg extension machine with a little bar, and you put your shins against it and you extend your knees, that would be open chain. And from a biologic point of view, open chain exercises can be very good in isolating a muscle, but they don't give balanced forces across the joint. So my personal bias is that I would generally pick closed chain over open chain for many things, unless you're really going for sort of strength and high performance and muscle mass and hypertrophy, because closed chain is super balanced. You can do complex exercise movement patterns, which are really efficient, and you get the front and the back, for example. Let's just say you're doing a squat or a walking lunge. You do the front and the back at the same time, and it's a very sort of organized, efficient, proficient activity. Closed chain exercise for sure we use in a post-operative setting so we don't overload joints. So for something called patellofemoral pain, which is across the front of the knee, we love when the foot is fixed against a firm surface, and that could be, again, squats, walking lunges, dumbbell presses, RDLs, where you're using a single leg activity. I mostly do closed chain activities, to be honest, for what I do, because it's really safe and you and I don't have forever to work out. So if you want to do compound exercises that do more than one muscle group at a time, a closed chain exercise gets you there. So it's just something to think about. And if you're unsure what it looks like and you want some ideas, you can go online very easily and just kind of look this up through a simple search, open versus closed chain exercise.
Very cool. Okay, next question for Dr. Cole. What are some ways I can improve my posture?
Yeah, this is a big one. I see a lot of adolescents and teenagers in my office, and probably those with the worst posture are these tall females that I get who are playing volleyball and swimmers and so forth, who are not comfortable being tall. And they're kind of always hunched over, and they're bending over their top. They have that sort of curve in the back of their upper thorax or back, and it's not that they're designed that way. They're just not comfortable being tall. And I'm always like, look, you should feel blessed that you are tall, and probably part of the reason you're such a good athlete is because you've got the height and the lever arms and the mechanics. And you got to first point out that their posture is awful, and you show them in a mirror, and then you help teach them basic things. And probably the core is the most important thing. We always talk about core exercise and so forth, sort of the central musculature that we have around our midsection, but core also extends up to the shoulder blade. So a lot of the strengthening and performance training is on resistance bands for your scapula, your shoulder blade, to sort of keep them opposed behind you. So when you're doing exercise with dumbbells and things of that nature, Steve, to help with posture, you always want to keep your shoulders down. Don't let your traps hike up to your ears. Keep your shoulders down. Keep the backs of your shoulder blades together, and you're upright without having a curved back. And that could be whether you're doing a plank or you're doing something upright. So it's really important, because bad mechanics, you can get injured while you're exercising. And I see lots of throwing problems because of bad posture. And I see lots of swimming shoulders with pain because of bad posture, because their shoulder blades are weak and they're not keeping themselves retracted and upright.
I'm always thinking when I'm in a machine, sitting in a machine doing some sort of weight exercise, I always remember press the back
Yes.
of my back to the back of that chair.
Yeah, so first the lower back, so where you sort of reverse your lordosis, that helps to engage your core. So again, you and I don't have forever to work out, so your exercises should be done well and done properly, and you and I don't always know what to do. That's why I do like working with a trainer sometimes, because they cue you, and you can do an exercise wrong and get very little out of it, and you're going to spend the same amount of time.
Yep.
You can sometimes spend half the time and get a whole lot more out of it if you're doing it correctly.
Okay, let's move on. Another question we have from our listeners in our Ask the Doctor segment here. Again, Steve Kashul, Dr. Brian Cole at Sports Medicine Weekly on this Saturday morning here on 670 The Score. Can yoga help me lose weight?
Yeah, I mean, I would say that yoga is, historically the type of yoga that, the traditional types of yoga don't really deliver that type of caloric burn to lose weight. But, some of the more modern forms like power yoga or Ashtanga, those kinds of things.
Hot yoga.
You lose a lot of water weight, right? The thing about hot yoga is it improves muscle flexibility and so forth beyond what you can do in a sort of a cold setting. But I'm not certain beyond losing water that you're going to hopefully, regain by proper hydration is the proper way to lose weight. I think, the thing about yoga, and I have a lot of people who do yoga, the benefits of yoga is that you're in an organized program, right? So if people are doing yoga, that's often not the only thing they're doing, and they're sort of hyper conscientious. So they're paying attention to diet, and they're doing yoga, and they're doing strength conditioning, resistance training, and aerobic programs. So they're not just doing that. So they're not just doing the yoga thing. So they're often much more mindful about eating and managing stress. And you've heard Karen Malkin talk many times about how most of us are stress eaters or behavioral eaters. So I think yoga can have secondary benefits because you've got people who are very conscientious, but it also puts you in a better place to the point where you're going to think about it and be more mindful, and reducing stress can reduce behavioral eating, as we say. So in an indirect way, I think yoga can be particularly beneficial in that regard to lose weight.
Okay, we're out of time. Doc Cole, great stuff. I appreciate it, and have a great week. We'll see you next week, okay?
You got it.
Our producer is Adam Stasinski today. Adam, great job. Appreciate you filling in for Shane Reardon. Our coordinating producer, as always, is Tracy Toro. Also want to thank David Cole for managing our website at sportsmedicineweekly.com, and also he does our business operations. Then we have Samantha Smith from Midwest Orthopedics at Rush. For Dr. Brian Cole, I'm Steve Kashul saying so long. And thanks for listening to Sports Medicine Weekly here on The Score. Up next on The Score, Early Odds with Joe Ostrowski. Talk with you again next Saturday, a brand new edition of Sports Medicine Weekly, only on
670 The Score.